Hello, welcome to live number 9.
Number 9.
Okay, so today we want to welcome everyone who's here. Thank you for joining us. And we're so excited because we got a lot of questions this week. So we're going to address the questions. Is there anything we wanted to do first?
Yes. First, we want to invite you to ask any questions you have. And then we had a couple of announcements really quick. One is the playground. If you've noticed the post, if you didn't notice it, it's being posted. It's called the playground. You can put any thoughts you have, anything you think would be benefit to the group. And the other is, we had someone asking about sharing the book group. Please, if you're getting any kind of benefit, anything from it, you think there's something useful to other people, please share either the Facebook. Some of the people aren't on Facebook. They were asking, well, I'm not on Facebook. How would I share it? Share the YouTube channel. So if
Hello, Sarah.
hello, Sarah. So yeah, if someone's not on Facebook but you wanted to share it, just share the Happy Life Results Facebook channel and they can start from day
It's
one.
not Facebook, on YouTube.
Thank you. The Happy Life Results YouTube channel. They don't have Facebook channels? Okay, great. So those are the only announcements that I had.
Okay, alrighty. Alright, so let's go into our questions. So it's so much fun. Like I tell everyone that questions are gold. When you have a question, it it primes you for the answer or for many answers, or just puts you in that curious, what am I thinking about and how can I, make sense of this? And then asking questions and writing them down is really powerful. Just asking yourself questions is something I love to do.
I was gonna say, you're really good at asking questions.
I love it.
And if you've seen in the comments in stage 2, Stacy's been posting her questions because that's part of the process she goes through when she's trying to translate something. She'll ask a lot of questions about it. So she's posting those there for your benefit.
Yeah, but no pressure.
No one has to answer all of those questions.
No.
Sometimes she just asks the question as a way to look at it differently.
Yeah.
We were talking, well, I guess they'll come across it, but it's like a suitcase where she just opens it up and checks to see what's in it right now. Let's unpack and see what are all the meanings that are in it now. And then when she goes to put it back, are those the meanings that I wanted to have? Is there anything I want to leave out? Is there anything I want to add? So
Yeah,
it's a process. That's why one of the reasons she loves questions.
Yeah. Okay, so then this is a fun one because someone asked the question about shiny objects and like finding your passion and also following your passion and how that's the overall topic. And it's really fun because when you're starting to apply up and learn up mastery, you start to see how your skills are getting improved in every area, and then you start to feel like, wow, I could really choose any direction. I could really choose any direction to pursue, any talent or business, or you don't feel that the trepidation that you used to feel when you think about all the things you could do. Instead, it's like a running forward instead of a holding back kind of feeling. And so when you have that start to happen more and more in your life, you'll start to ask the question, what direction should I go? Like, I feel like I can go any direction. And this ties in well to the shiny objects and also the passion, because in the traditional system, passion is something that you find. It's something external. You can't choose your passion. It kind of, I guess, finds you.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
You test things out until something clicks.
It clicks.
That's the passion. I found it
Yeah.
because I feel good when I'm doing this.
Yes, that's more of the traditional system. And when you bring that feeling, that passion, that excitement to the thing, when you bring passion to the passion,
or to anything,
yeah, then it can become your passion in that sense.
So yeah, but in other words, you don't have to limit. You're not waiting to find the thing and then you only feel the passion while you have the thing. You get to choose what you want to focus on, but you get that passion for that thing.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about this shiny object, did you want to talk about it?
You can do it.
Okay, I like it because a shiny object, we refer to something that's distracting. We're trying to go this direction and then we see a shiny object and it pulls us away from tasks to check out this new shiny object. And the reason shiny objects are able to pull us from task is because they seem like they're more interesting than what we're doing now. They seem like they'll be more fun. They seem like they'll be more exciting,
Yeah.
right? So that's why shiny objects can distract us, can get us off track. So what's interesting, the line of questioning had to do with the shiny objects. If you can bring your passion to anything, you could bring your passion to the shiny object, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could say, hey, that shiny object is another one of my passions, because you don't have specific passions. However, what's interesting is that the shiny object is no longer a threat to distract you, because you're not expecting it to be more exciting.
Because you bring the excitement.
You bring the excitement. If you're bringing the fun, you're bringing the excitement, you're bringing the passion, there isn't something off track that's going to be more passion, more excitement, more fun.
Yes.
Right? So that's why you could be laser focused, because you have that excitement the entire time, so you can just drive that direction.
Yes, and in our laser focus section in the concepts, then we talk about if you were to go and chop down a whole bunch of trees versus just chop down one tree, what happens is if you're starting to feel like I could be good at anything, what do I want to do? And then you're choosing your directions. When you choose your directions, you start to see how much more you'll accomplish when you have a very specific direction. When you're just like, okay, this is my main direction, and then I have a few of these side directions, but this, if I'm gonna see how much I can just pile on massive action to this one thing and see how far and how fast I can get there for the fun of it. And then you're just, it's amazing how much you can do when you do that kind of laser focus.
And then if you think of the critical few when you're choosing your focus, when you're deciding, okay, so say your focus is, well, we use the example of learning a language. If you focus on the critical few activities for whatever that focus is, then not only are you able to have the passion, excitement, and energy while you're doing it, but you're also doing the activities in that area that'll give you the best results.
Yes.
So that's where we connect results, and that's more of a stage 3 discussion, like getting the results, doing the activities, doing the changes, that kind of stuff. But the concept is there for the future results as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Did we?
Okay. So
how did we do on that?
I think awesome.
So yeah, if there were any further questions on that, feel free to post them. Any clarifications, anything we just covered for that one.
Yes. Okay, so then another question was brought up kind of about habits. And I had so much I wanted to say, like about how to change your instinctive responses. Because we talk a lot about this, right? Like what do you just do reactively versus proactively? What's your lens? What's your paradigm? What's your perspective? Like we talk a lot about this. And so then you're like, well, how do I change my habit? Like how do I get this transformation you guys are talking about? And it is also a stage 3 topic, because changing who you are, changing your instinctive responses, your habits, that's a very hands-on, that's in the how-to section instead of the translation stage. So right now you're still just getting the theory, the concept.
Yeah, explain what is the stage 2 translation stage, just in case.
Yeah, if anyone hasn't.
Yeah, how does that differ from stage 3? What are we doing now versus?
So right now you are, so it's kind of fun because it's almost like I'm saying, well, I wrote a book, but now I want you to write my book.
Nice.
That's a translation stage.
Yeah, and it's still theory.
Yes, okay, so that's the difference, is I want you to write my book as if you were going to teach it to someone else, but not apply it. And so it's just the theory, like if you were to teach someone the theory of algebra, but not actually use a practical application. And actually, that's kind of a good example. Because algebra won't make sense hardly at all at the beginning. It's like this, you'd have to translate algebra in order to use algebra in real life. You wouldn't just naturally look at the numbers on the page and say, I know how to fit this in real life.
But you could figure out how to do, like in theory, how do you solve for x, right? You could figure out how you solve for x, and that's the theory. You translate to where I know how to solve for x, and then you're like, now what are your real world applications
Yes.
where you would use algebra to get a solution to something you're dealing with in real life.
But if you were only learning the theory and no one had talked about real life yet,
You wouldn't connect it
you
yet.
wouldn't connect it. And we're still kind of in that
Theory.
we're in that
Yeah.
stage of theory. So don't put any pressure on yourself to apply these things yet, because we're still in the theory stage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm so excited for stage 2, because then I could actually delve into the theory and like explain my experience and my transformation and how things. Hey, Janet, welcome.
Hey, Janet.
Yeah.
So what's interesting, the reason, if you want to go deeper into the reason for the translation stage, watch the days, whatever they were, 44 and 45, 46, where we talk about the translation stage. Go back and review those. But the reason is, until you actually make it yours, it's going to be hard to hold on to the theory, and until you can hold on to the theory, it's going to be hard to put it into practical application. So if you are just familiar with algebra and solving for x, and you came across a real life situation where you wanted to solve for x, but you hadn't ever transferred that into your own, a theory that you own,
Yeah.
and put it into your own words, your own thoughts, something that you can hold on to, then when you try to go to application phase, it's going to be really challenging. So yeah, okay.
Really challenging if you skip this stage.
If you skip the translation, if you
Yes.
skip the translation stage and try to go straight to application,
Yes.
and you don't have it in your own words, you don't have it to where you have it with you. It's just something you're familiar with when you're looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But if you have that solid, then the application stage is effortless.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
When you're doing it, it's effortless.
It's effortless. When you're doing it, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
All right, so, yep, that's what we wanted to share. Is
Okay.
there anything?
And then
Oh,
oh yeah,
energy.
we had energy, and then there was another question.
Can you scroll?
Or we could have Jay read it. Jay can read it to us.
It's right here.
Thank you, right there.
The question, if you don't know how to put a section of the book.
Into your own words.
wait,
Okay, we
what
can
if
talk
you
about that.
Okay,
So
that's great.
let's talk about that first, and then we can do the energy. Because
Okay.
we have it written down.
Okay.
So what do you do if you look at a section and you're like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to translate it. How, if you're not quite sure how to put it into your own words, give us something to start. Give us a kind of a tip or one way to do it.
Okay, so be specific about what you don't understand.
Oh, so even if we can't put the whole thing into words, if we just say, oh, which parts don't I understand?
Yeah, 'cause
that's
some
one
of
way to
it-
start.
Yeah.
To put it into, that's a way to translate it, because you're saying, well, okay, I get this part and this part. This specific part, I have a question about.
Mm-hmm.
So
Then
I-
that helps you with your
she
question.
loves questions. Okay, any other tips?
Okay, so just playing with the ideas. So like familiarize yourself with the section, and if nothing comes to mind, maybe think about it for part of the day. I do a lot of thinking in the background where you're not like focused on it, but it's just kind of percolating in the background. You pull it up every now and again, and then you'll find that if you do that, then later in the day, you look back at the question and go, oh wow, I actually think I thought a lot about that.
Hmm.
Now I have this example and this way of looking at it. So, and then also ask questions.
And if you,
I mean, ask us questions.
oh, in the group.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we will be happy to respond to them either there in the discussion, or we'll save it for the live and we'll talk about it here. And then we usually go back afterward and make sure that we answered that question for that person.
Yes.
So, speaking of when you're going to translate it, one of the examples that we used was if you're trying to draw something and you look at it, one of the reasons you go to translate is because you actually see it better than you did if you're not trying to translate it. So one thing you can do is you can read it through and then look away and say, what did I just read?
Oh yeah.
And without looking back, what did I just read? And if you can write it out just as you thought of it, what did I just read? And you try to kind of express it, talk around it, whatever you remember from it, that's putting it into your own words. And then you can compare back and see, did I miss something? Was there something? So that's another way. Another attempt is, it's kind of like doing a sketch where you look at it, you look away, you try to sketch it, and then you compare back and forth to see how close you got.
I love that
So
one.
there's two. and there are more. so if that, hopefully that one gives you something to work with, and if you still need tips, ask us for next week and we'll add more.
Yep. I will be putting that in my file to percolate, to think about when I'm not doing anything else.
Yep.
And then next week, I'll have all kinds of great things to say.
Tips for if you can't think of anything in your translation stage to
Yeah.
get you going. So we gave them to.
Yeah.
And then your other question right there.
I didn't write it.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Explain varying levels of energy a bit more, could you?
Okay, so I wanted to read this section in the book.
Okay.
So we talk about, so maybe you're familiar with this chart, but it's in the
And the hardback copy is page 24, but it's in section 2 of the guide stage.
Guide
Called
concept to flying. Yeah. Guide concept to flying.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So talking about the simplicity model.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are 3 aspects of it. One is positive and negative, so it's either up or down. And then 2 is energy, and that's what we're going to talk about. And 3 is focus. So with the energy, I'll just describe this, how energy that's around 0 will be what we call less intense.
Mm-hmm.
If you say low energy, it kind of sounds like there's a negative connotation to
right.
low energy, and we're not talking about anything like that. We're just saying how much is the intensity of the energy. So around 0, you would describe it if you used vocabulary to describe what's going on inside. You would say, if it's above 0, you would say, I'm peaceful. And if it's below 0, you would say, I'm bored, or I'm meh, I'm blah, something like that. And then higher up on the energy levels, you would use words, and the words are beneficial for communication, but when you're just tuning into your own feelings, if you can get away from the words a little bit and get more into these 3 simple things, then what will happen is that you will stop using all of the meaning in the vessels that you were attaching before. Vessels meaning all of the word, we talked about this.
It's like the
Your
suitcase that's filled with meaning.
Yeah, so call it a suitcase.
And if you haven't opened up the suitcase, you don't know what meaning's in there. You're just bringing it with you every time you hear that word.
So whenever you feel a certain way, get away from the words that you know and go instead and say how much intensity, 1 to 5 positive or 1 to 5 negative, and then that includes the up down, so up and down, and then 3 is focus. Where are you pointing that energy? What is the focus?
Which could include context, it could include
goals and directions.
Yeah, goals and directions. There are different aspects of the focus. So then when it talks about the varying degrees of energy, there are some situations where high intensity energy is more appropriate than other areas where low intensity energy would be appropriate. So the variance in that energy.
Yeah, so think about if you're taking a test in a room full of other students, where would your energy level be? I mean, different for different people, but...
And even from moment to moment, your energy levels can fluctuate to, as, like, it's desirable that your energy levels fluctuate.
Yes.
You don't want this just constant, always high, always low energy, right?
And that's the dynamic part of up. Up is a dynamic internal state. And dynamic is that it's fluid to move. The energy level is fluid to move up and down. And then, like, if you were cheering your favorite sports team on, what kind of energy would you bring to that? What would be the optimal? Because if you wanted to bring peaceful, just a little bit of energy, but you were like, hey, I want to scream and shout for my team. I need more energy. I need more intensity. There we go. Not more energy, more intensity.
Yeah. And the reason the simplicity model helps with this is because if someone, thank you. If, for example, in meditation, let's talk about meditation for a little while, where you deep breathing and you're trying to clear your thoughts and that kind of thing, most of the time it's going for a peaceful. That's which is a lower energy. But if you only practice being positive in a lower energy range, then you could, if you're already at an intense energy, in order for you to get, and say you're not up, let's say you're at intense energy and you're down, then you could feel like you have to lower the energy all the way back down to low before you can shift it up to get into peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
But you can actually shift it instantly from low to high. You don't have to drop the energy to be up. That's the point. The point is you can be up at the high energy range as well as the low energy range. You don't have to regulate the energy before you can shift to up, and you can stay in up and go up and down the energy scale.
Yeah.
Peaceful is not preferable always to ecstatic, and ecstatic isn't necessary when
No.
peaceful is the right approach, right? So,
Exactly.
so understanding how the energy matches with your environment, your focus.
Yeah, with your focus, and that's why that's the third part of this simplicity model. Yep. So
Whenever she brings up the model, I start talking because the model, yes.
Yes.
Oh, I like the her chart and the graph and the numbers and the. Okay, well that's all we have time for today.
So thanks everyone for joining us, and we welcome your questions at any point on any of our posts, on the playground, at the beginning of our live, so we have time to answer it. Like any of your questions, feel free to shower us with your questions.
All right.
Okay.
Thank
take
you.
care, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.